On a wet night, Adam, a good-hearted man with a natural desire to assist, gave a stranger a place to stay. The next day, he was shocked to learn the woman's true identity when the chopper touched down close to his house, and his modest gesture of compassion resulted in unanticipated life changes he never could have predicted. Welcome to Stories That Have Been Revealed. I can't wait to tell you another tale full of generosity, intrigue, and unexpected turns. I hope you find it entertaining and return for more. It had been a long day at work, and Adam Thompson was eager to get home to his modest house where a warm meal and the solitude he had grown accustomed to awaited him. As he rounded a bend on the desolate road, his headlights caught the figure of someone standing on the roadside. It was a woman soaked, shivering, and waving desperately for help. Adam Thompson drove carefully down the rain-slicked road, the storm raging outside making visibility nearly impossible. His windshield wipers worked tirelessly, but the fog and unrelenting downpour made it difficult to see more than a few feet ahead. Adam rolled down his window a little and slowed down. "Are you okay?" he yelled, straining his voice above the rain. The woman approached warily, her body trembling. "My car broke down a mile ago due to rain, and I have to go to my friend's house for a party, but I can't." Her voice quivered, not only from the cold but also from the mounting despair of her circumstances. Adam glanced at her and saw that her clothes were soaked and her face was pale. Without hesitation, he said, "Get in, you'll freeze if you stay out here." She hesitated only a moment before getting into the passenger seat, and he gave her an old towel he kept in the back seat. "Thank you," she said quietly, her gratitude obvious as they drove. The woman introduced herself as Lily, and Adam nodded, but he kept his eyes on the road. "How far is your friend's house?" he asked, looking at her. "About an hour from here." Adam scowling between the fog and the storm. The journey was growing more dangerous because there were few passing cars and no public transportation. "I don't think I can get you there safely tonight," he groaned. "You can spend the night at my house, and when the weather clears in the morning, I'll drive you where you need to go. My house is about 10 minutes away." Lily paused her pride, wearing with pragmatism, but when the car was shaken by another gust of wind, she knew she had little choice. "Thank you, I swear I won't cause any problems, so don't worry about it," Adam remarked, smiling reassuringly at her. As Lily went to change, Adam went into the kitchen and filled a small pot with water to quickly prepare a simple soup. The rich aroma of chicken broth soon filled the room, providing a sense of comfort. Adam's modest but tidy home reflected his simple, hard-working lifestyle. He handed Lily an oversized hoodie and sweatpants, saying, "These might be a little big on you, but they're warm and dry." When Lily came back, she was wrapped up in warm clothing, fighting the storm outside. Adam remarked, "This should help," and handed her a steaming mug of soup. "You've already done so much that I'm not sure how to express my gratitude," Lily said, her eyes wide with amazement. Adam shrugged and pulled out a chair nearby to sit down. "You don't have to thank me. A little kindness goes a long way, and everyone deserves that, especially on a night like this." He stopped and looked out the window where the rain was still coming down. "Dinner won't be fancy," he said, moving to the kitchen, "but it will be hot, so that's more than enough," Lily said, appreciative of the warmth and cover. Adam busied himself making a simple but filling meal. Pasta with garlic bread on the side. As they sat down to eat, Lily noticed a framed picture of a young woman and a young girl on a nearby shelf. "Your family?" she asked, pointing to the picture. "Yeah, my wife and daughter, it's just me now." Adam paused, his voice heaving, but before Lily could reply, he spoke again. "You know tomorrow's my birthday," he said with a small, almost shy smile. "Not that I'm doing much to celebrate. I've got work and I've been saving every penny, so no big plans really." Lily's brows raised, which is a little depressing. Adam laughed as he tried to brush it off, saying, "It's life. I'm just grateful to have a job, a roof over my head, and the chance to keep going." Lily noticed the wistfulness in his tone and wanted to say something to cheer him up, but she just said, "Well, happy early birthday. Thank you for everything, Adam." After dinner tonight, as they cleared the table, Lily pointed to the picture once more and asked if it was all right to inquire about their whereabouts. Adam was hesitant, but the warmth and sincere interest in Lily's face gave him the confidence to confide that years ago, "I made some poor choices." Adam spoke steadily at first, but with a hint of emotion. My life became out of control due to narcotics, and I eventually lost my family, my job, and my house. When I reached my lowest point, I realized I couldn't go on like that. I went through rehab, got clean, and decided to start over in a new city. Is that why you moved here? Lily listened carefully as her hands clasped around a warm mug of tea. My wife tried to help me for years, and Adam kept looking away. Lily asked quietly. Adam agreed. This area offered me a new beginning, and I didn't want to be reminded of the life I'd ruined. I currently put in a lot of overtime in an effort to pay off debts I've had for years. It's challenging, but it's honest labor, and I remind myself daily that I've gone a long way from where I was. Her eyes glistened as she took in his words. Adam, you've changed your life in a way that most people can't, and you should be proud of yourself. Adam grinned slightly and said, Thank you. Sometimes it's difficult to see things that way, but I try to keep hope because you never know when life will surprise you. Lily's look was serious as she cocked her head, acknowledging that unexpected things sometimes happen. Adam nodded, a tiny smile tugging at the corners of his lips. You should get some rest. It's been a long day and I've got an early start. He led Lily to the guest room, where he offered her extra blankets and made sure she was comfortable. Before retiring to his own room, Lily lay awake for a while, thinking about Adam's story and how, despite his struggles, he remained kind and selfless, a rare quality in her experience. She made a mental note to do something to show her gratitude, though she wasn't sure how. But Adam also lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, his thoughts drifting to the next day. It wasn't just another birthday, it was a reminder of how far he'd come, even though the journey ahead still seemed overwhelming. The following morning, Adam woke up early, just as he had planned, and the stillness of the house was peaceful in contrast to the chaos of the storm. The previous evening, he brewed a pot of coffee, the rich aroma filling the small kitchen, and was about to make some breakfast when he heard a low hum in the distance. At first, he thought it was the storm, but as he stepped outside, Adam froze in shock as a sleek black helicopter descended toward the open field near his house. A moment later, a black SUV rolled up the gravel driveway, its tires crunching over the ground, and two sharply dressed people entered. They moved purposefully, their demeanor calm and solemnity. One of them, a tall man with a commanding presence, approached Adam and held up a picture of Lily. Good morning, the man said politely. We've been tracking this young woman's location since last night, and it led us here. Adam squinted as he felt a wave of confusion. Yeah, she's inside. What's going on? The man put the photo back in his coat pocket. My name is James. Lily Bennett, Mr. Jonathan Bennett's daughter, works as his assistant. Adam's eyes widened in shock, but before James could react, the door to the house opened and Lily emerged. Clad in the dry clothes Adam had given her for Lent, she looked a little surprised but quickly collected herself. Your father has been trying to reach you all night. Your phone must have been out of service, Lily James said with a respectful nod. Lily groaned and smiled slightly in apology. I'm doing well. James the First was fortunate to discover someone who was willing to assist me after I had some automotive trouble. She pointed to Adam. James's eyes briefly shifted to Adam, and I noticed that Mr. Bennett would like to meet him. Lily then turned to face Adam, her eyes softening with appreciation. Adam, this is James. He works as my father's assistant. I didn't anticipate this, but I assume he's concerned. Adam was still unsure of how to interpret the circumstances, but Lily's assurances gave him some perspective. Adam was astounded by the size of the estate when they stepped out of the helicopter, which was silent save for the occasional hum of the blades cutting through the sky. A tall man in his late 50s with silver hair and keen, perceptive eyes was waiting on the steps, and Adam assumed this to be Jonathan Bennett. Mr. Thompson, Jonathan said, It's a pleasure to meet you. With a deep and serene voice, he held out a hand, which Adam firmly shook. Lily stood next to them, grinning broadly. Father Adam is the person that assisted me last night. Jonathan's face softened with appreciation. I am so grateful. In addition to keeping my daughter safe, Mr. Thompson, you have displayed a unique kind of kindness in a world that doesn't often have much of it. Adam was struck by the sincerity of Jonathan's remarks. He had simply followed his instincts and done nothing noteworthy, but the weight of Jonathan's comments made him feel more than that. Adam spoke steadily, but it was still clear that he was nervous. Jonathan grinned, but there was a hint of something more profound in his eyes. "Nevertheless, I beg you to accept this gift. It's not much, but I want you to have this as a sign of my gratitude." So he took a hefty envelope out of his jacket and gave it to Adam. Adam paused and kept his fingers on the envelope, saying, "I'm just glad she's safe. That's reward enough." He didn't do it for money. Adam shook his head respectfully, unable to accept the thank you, but I couldn't understand. Jonathan stopped, then nodded as though he understood something deeper about Adam. "I appreciate that, but please accept this. You've helped more than you know. Mr. Thompson, tell me about yourself, Mr. Thompson." Jonathan smiled and said, "Then at least allow us the pleasure of having you join us for breakfast." They sat at the grand breakfast table, where a spread of fresh fruits, eggs, and tea awaited them. The atmosphere was cozy and welcoming, and the conversation flowed naturally. Jonathan asked in a calm tone, "And now I'm interested in learning more about the man who assisted my daughter." Adam paused but then gave a brief overview of his background, including his battles with addiction, the protracted recovery process, and the effort he had put into starting over. Jonathan listened carefully, occasionally nodding, and Lily appeared interested, her eyes never leaving Adam as she processed his words. "You've come a long way, Adam. It takes a lot of strength to get through what you've gone through," said Jonathan thoughtfully. As breakfast came to an end, Jonathan's expression softened. "You're welcome to stay here for as long as you like, Adam. If there's ever anything I can do for you, just ask." After leaving the Bennett estate, Adam flew back to his home, his mind racing, unsure of what to think of everything that had happened, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed in his life. Later that day, after returning to work, he received a call from his bank with the news that left him stunned. The bank representative explained that it was an anonymous transaction, leaving no clue as to who had made such a generous act. With his phone still in his grasp and his heart racing, Adam sat in quiet, knowing deep down that Lily and her father were the ones who had done this. It was more than enough to change his life. After a long day at work, Adam came home later that evening still processing what had happened during the day. As he drove up to his house, he was astounded to see lights twinkling in his yard. The gesture, which was both generous and mysterious, left him overwhelmed. It was a small act of compassion on a stormy night that had returned to him in a way he could never have imagined. As he came into the driveway and noticed that his front yard had been changed, a gorgeously arranged table with a giant birthday cake in the center of the yard made his heart skip a beat. Lily and Jonathan Adam were standing by the table as balloons flapped in the breeze and festive decorations enlivened the area. Lily exclaimed, her voice full of enthusiasm, "Happy birthday!" Adam was momentarily stunned by the gesture, the compassion, and the kindness. It exceeded his expectations. Jonathan moved forward and gave Aaron a solid handshake. "We wanted to do something for you, even though I know it's not much. You have done more for us than you realize." Adam's eyes welled with tears as he saw the birthday cake. He hadn't anticipated any of this, especially after all the hardships he had endured. Lily smiled softly and said, "You deserve this, Adam. We're glad to have you in our lives." As they celebrated together, Adam felt a warmth that went beyond the birthday cake and the decorations. It was the warmth of genuine kindness from people who cared, and for the first time in a long time, he felt truly seen. If this story inspired you, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support enables us to bring more powerful stories to life, join our expanding community, and be a part of something genuinely impactful.